Yeah, so Ms. Narayan, Honorable Minister, Mr. Firhad Hakim has joined. He is also Mayor Kolkata. He is Chairperson KMC. You already know him. You have had interactions earlier. So I would request you now to formally start.
Good evening, Honorable Minister. We really appreciate your time and thank you so much for convening this meeting and congratulations again on getting the portfolio of urban affairs as well. We are very excited about that. So thank you so much for this. We just thought we'd spend some time, like briefly today, to give you an overview of C40. And why we have been requesting this meeting, Minister, has been because Kolkata has been hasn't been as active as a city in the last year, and currently Kolkata is not.
As you know that just before the COVID, I personally went to Copenhagen to attend the C40 meeting there, and thereafter the next year only the COVID started. And after the COVID, we had an election year. Throughout the elections, we were faced from assembly election to the municipal elections. So now, as a mayor of Calcutta, and we were actually KMD was the member of the C40, but now we have converted that to Calcutta Municipal Corporation. As I am in both of their body. So I will be heading from Calcutta in C40 as like previously also. So now we want to actively participate there and have a global coordination so that we can we can progress.
Thank you. That's very exciting. And I just want to, before we just share a quick presentation, the upcoming Mayor's Summit is in Buenos Aires in October. So please do mark your calendar. We will follow up with your team, but it will be great if you can attend that as well. It's in October in Buenos Aires.
I will try.
Yeah. We will keep you posted on that and we'll coordinate with your office. So, Minister, I'm Shruti Narayan, I'm the Regional Director and I'm joined by my colleague Raina Singh, who is the Deputy Regional Director for South and West Asia.
You are there in place of Mr. Sridhar?
Yes. So, Minister, we just thought we'd give you a quick update on where we are, and I think we can skip Raina through the first couple of slides and see C40. Minister, I'm sure this is just giving you an idea of the South and West region, which is under my directorate. We have 9 cities that are a part of this region, and in India we have 5 cities, which includes Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Delhi, and Bangalore. And and all of this region is very diverse and has a significant vulnerable population. So we are working very closely in this region on seeing how we can really mainstream climate action. And the way we measure C40 success of different cities' performance is through the leadership standard. So the next couple of slides that we have, Minister, is just to give you an idea of what immediate support we require. One of the key things that we need to do is to start a climate action plan for Kolkata. So as this is just capturing that Kolkata became one of the first cities to join C40 cities. It has, we have already supported Kolkata in undertaking a greenhouse gas inventory and also, pathways modeling for a climate action plan. We would now like to, Raina, can you move to the next slide? So this is, Minister, a deadline 2020 that we had signed earlier that basically committed to Kolkata, aligning its, saving of its reduction of its carbon emissions to Paris Agreement, which is a very forward-looking, deadline, commitment that you made. And we would like to develop a climate action plan that aligns to this. So if you go to the next slide. So I will just give an overview and then I will hand it to my colleague Raina to take us through this in some detail. So, Minister, the way, as you would be aware, that every city that becomes a part of C40 city has to, we measure its performance on a yearly basis. And we measure its performance based on something that we call the leadership standards. Currently, C40 has 97 cities globally that are a part of C40. And if a city does not meet the leadership standards, it's given about a year to perform. Otherwise, it goes out of C40. It becomes annulled. Right now, if you look at Kolkata's leadership standard, it's not compliant. And it has about, this year and at least in the next couple of weeks and, months to show significant progress. Otherwise, it will lose its membership status. And the way we measure our leadership standards are focused on 5 pillars. The first one is on plan, which is the delivery of the climate action plan. And I would like to, update you, Minister. We have actually been able to stitch together a very critical collaboration with the European Union in India and GCOM to support Kolkata financially to develop a climate action plan, which essentially means that Kolkata will be able to, through this support, deliver a climate action plan without using its own resources. And Raina will kind of give you an idea on the kind of support we will need in terms of coordination. So I will just hand it to Raina to take us through the leadership standards in a little bit detail. So Raina, next slide.
Sure, thank you, Shruti. Good afternoon, Mr. Kumar, and good afternoon, Mr. Sen. So, as just to take forward from what Shruti was mentioning just now, so if you look at this slide, we will of course share this presentation later on after the call with KMC for looking at it in detail. But what you will find here is, if we look at the leadership standards which are listed here on the left, and with respect to that, if you see the ones which are basically marked in pink or red color are the ones where we basically need to take immediate action. And the first one of them is the climate action plan, as Shruti was mentioning. Now, with respect to the climate action plan, earlier in 2020, with C40 support, Kolkata City has already prepared a greenhouse gas emission inventory. And now, as the immediate next step, what is required is to basically update and validate this inventory with the most updated data for 2019. And also conduct a climate change risk assessment to develop a climate action plan, which is aligned to the C40 climate action planning framework, which also aligns to the objectives of the Paris Climate Agreement. Now, in order to do this, as Shruti just mentioned, we have been in discussion with the European Union and the Global Covenant of Affairs team in India. And basically, the support that we will need from KMC will be essentially in terms of time commitment from a core team, which can basically help us facilitate the stakeholder engagement and the data collection that will be required in order to complete the climate action planning exercise. We will of course do this in very close coordination with the KMC team, which is appointed. And typically what cities do is to have like a core team of say 5 to 6 members, wherein there are technical leads with respect to various sectors on which the municipal corporation is working. So, for example, solid waste management, on transport, buildings, and energy and mobility, and also, for instance, on disaster management or other flooding. So, this kind of a core technical team, which can work in coordination with us and with the GCOM team, will can then together take this forward. So basically the commitment that will be needed from KMC will be in terms of this kind of coordination and data collection support. The other critical leadership standard that I would like to highlight on this slide is with respect to the leadership standard 2B, which essentially will require immediate action from KMC starting in April, because this is like an annual monitoring and tracking of actions that is done by all member cities globally on an annual basis. Now, this will not need more than 1 day's time to do the interdepartmental coordination and data collection and reporting, and I and our team will be able to support with respect to any questions coming in from the KMC team. Going to the next slide, this is basically giving the timeline and expected requirements in terms of leadership standard 3, which is focusing on mainstreaming of climate goals into the city decision-making processes, which are essentially policies, regulations, the municipal budgets, various sectoral programs and projects, and this is also an annual monitoring exercise that is done through a very simple self-assessment form, which does not take more than an hour for the city team to fill. But this is again because it requires tracking of progress, which has to be implemented through the year. Therefore, again, this is something that we will be coordinating with the KMC team on a ongoing basis. Again, I will not go into the details of all the other points, but basically, again, these are points which will be monitored sometime in 2023 and 2024. But at the same time, the city will require ongoing action in order to track and make progress on these. The other very critical leadership standard that I would like to highlight here, especially in the presence of the minister, because he's here, is the leadership standard 5A and 5B, essentially, which focuses on the commitment of political leadership to act as a C40 ambassador and also inspire other cities through various public outreach and engagement through various events. So, sir, again, if you look at this information over here, so you will find that in 2021, this is again a gap area, and because this is also annually tracked, and with you being present with us now, we really hope that we can basically coordinate with Kolkata to address this gap expedited manner. So again, we will be in touch with your team after this meeting to see how we can work on this. But the major important support that will be required is one in terms of your your engagement, because this specifically targets the mayoral or equivalent engagement and participation at the city level. So this again is something that I would like to highlight here for your information. And then again, under the leadership standard 5, which again focuses on lead, there are some other 4 standards, and the city can choose to pick one of them. And this basically does not necessarily require mayoral participation, but continuous participation from the ULP and the city team to ensure that at least one of these standards is met on an annual basis. Something that we have highlighted here, which can be potentially taken as an immediate action by KMC, is with respect to committing to one C40 declaration, which is most aligned to KMC's priorities. And this could depend on, based on the KMC priorities as well as functions. So, for example, it could be around air quality, or it could be around urban nature and adaptation initiatives, or around green and healthy streets, which essentially focuses on sustainable mobility and integrated mobility in a city. So, signing on to one C40 declaration to begin with, committing to this and tracking its progress, and then also an immediate action to ensure that Kolkata is participating into C40 networks. So again, KMC can choose up to 2 networks which are of immediate priority and importance to the city, and accordingly engage in these networks. So these are some immediate action points which can be taken to basically address some of these urgent gap areas. We'll of course, as I said, share this later with the KMC team, and then we can work with the team to basically coordinate as to how these urgent gap areas can be addressed and how we can plan for the upcoming months to address some of the gap areas. So with this, I will pass on to Shruti for the final closing slide and the next steps. Shruti, over to you.
Thank you, Raina. So, just to summarize this, because firstly, we like to highlight that we are very, grateful actually for the time of Minister Yu and Mr. Kumar to coming together to actually reviewing the C40 participation, and we look forward to engaged, coordination going forward. So the immediate next step would be that we should start, we should have a nodal point of contact for C40 that ensures a regular coordination. The second would be that we should immediately start the climate action plan, like we highlighted, that we have been in discussions with the European Union and the Global Covenant of Mayors to provide financial support to Kolkata through the engagement of a technical assistant directly, so that Kolkata wouldn't have to spend any money on this, and that would deliver a climate action plan. The third would be active engagement of the city officials on networks. Just to highlight, C40 networks are networks that are focused on topical areas, so like air quality, waste. So what they do is they provide global knowledge to the city on what is happening across the world. So they become learning platforms for the city to actually share information and learn. So we would be very keen to see what networks Kolkata can actively participate in. And the third is to signing a declaration. Kolkata actually is the only city in India right now amongst our C40 cities that hasn't signed even one declaration. So we would be very, very keen to have Kolkata sign at least one declaration. And the last one would be engaging, Minister yourself and Mr. Kumar on leadership, events that C40 organizes, so that there could be climate inspiration instituted around your participation in climate mainstreaming for India and the world. So I will just stop here and to hear your questions and thoughts and to finalize next steps.
Mr. Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am, for the presentation. On this, we have noted, the action that is suggested to be taken by the KMC. The first one about nodal point of contact, we have already our, head of environment department in, KMC, Mr. Parthasarathi Samanto. He has been, nominated as the nodal officer. I think we have communicated that. So his name and his coordinates have been given. About the climate action plan, of course, we'll be very keen to have a climate action plan. If we can get the details of, you said that the European Union is willing to come forward with the funding and with the LC which can do the things and all. And we will, of course, organize that one day workshop you want or whatever data, because KMC has those data. So but what we'll need is we'll need the expertise of somebody to help us prepare the plan. So I would request you to maybe mail us or share us the coordinate of the experts who will be preparing the plan. And about the declaration commitment that you're saying, maybe all the list of declarations that you can be sent to us. Then I will put it up to the Honorable Mayor, who also happens to the Minister of the Department, so that we can we get the concurrence from the KMC House, and if the need be the government, and then we can definitely sign the declaration. Regarding the fourth point, political leader participation in the key events, in fact, we keep organizing. There are a lot of events which are organized, to keep the city green and to keep the city clean, to reduce the pollution. So what we'll do is maybe we'll document those events which are already there. So we collate at one event, one place. In fact, the Minister is also very active on social media, on his Twitter handle and the Facebook page. So from there also we'll collect the events and all, and share it with you so that it helps in your documentation. So these are the 4 points on which we assure that KMC will be taking actions. Now we need to take it, carry it forward.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. And we just want to assure you that you have all our support. I mean, and in our entire team's support in working on this. We will guide you through this process and take you forward. And it's my request that we ensure that Kolkata is active going forward, so that there is no issues on compliance and any possibility of Kolkata losing its C40 membership in India.
No. Obviously, we will comply with the whatever requirements are there. And because we sincerely believe that climate action plan is something which Kolkata being the metro in the country and the main city of the state, we have to go forward on this.
Great. So thank you so much. I mean, that's all we had to present today and get your support and buy-in. We will immediately start from tomorrow sharing information and guiding you through the next steps. So we really, really appreciate your time, and we look forward to a very engaged and active relationship with Kolkata.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and I would like to invite you to Calcutta. Please come down and sit with us as Mr. Siddhar used to do, and we can have a discussion on table, because of course nowadays these type of we are habituated after the corona, but as a man from old generation, we are habituated to have across the table discussions that comfort, that give us a comfortable feel. Thank you, and I wish to see for you here. Thank you.
Yes, Minister, we'll be there very soon. We will be there very soon. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam.